Look at Governor Rick Snyder, because the president has criticized a lot of these governors and their resistance to refugees in this country, saying, why are they afraid of women and children? I think this brings that point home. But Governor, right now I'm told by lawyers, I don't know if you're one, I'm not, but I've watched a lot of legal shows, so I think I'm an expert, that the feds can overrule you. No matter what your opposition to this refugee plan, if they want to dump some in your state, you got to deal with it. What do you think?
Yeah, Neil, this is an issue that I thought was appropriate to say we should pause in terms of our efforts. And the reason I said that is if you look at what's going on in Paris, what's going on in Lebanon and Egypt with the airliner, doesn't it make sense that we should want to look at what's happened in those places to make sure we're doing the best procedures in the United States? This is all about a common sense pause, why we do the appropriate balancing of being a welcoming country, because I'm very proud in Michigan we have the largest Middle Eastern community in the United States. They're a wonderful community to have, and I want to see it grow. And so we want to encourage people to come to our country that have their lives shattered, but we also need to balance national security and make sure we're keeping the bad people out, these terrorists. So given those incidences, isn't it common sense to just say, let's pause, let's reevaluate, let's make sure we're talking to our citizens and make sure we're all confident on what we're doing to take care of both those goals?
Well, I think what the president was saying, Governor, is that you're embarrassing him, that this type of resistance is sending the wrong message. He's used, for example, how the Europeans are responding to this, still with open arms for those refugees, though you're quite right, not as open. But President Hollande today indicating that, well, he is going to increase Syrian sortie attacks on ISIS positions. He is willing and eager to bring in 30,000 of those refugees. What do you make of it?
Well, Neil, what I'd say is that you know my track record. I'm very strong on having opening arms, about looking at immigration as part of our culture, our heritage in America. The real issue is we also need to balance national security, and these instances are situations where shouldn't we just say it's common sense to say, let's look at what happened in these other places, and are there improvements, enhancements, and get this information out to the American people. Because a large part of this is our citizens are concerned. And let's have a good dialogue without politics with our citizens about how this is balancing national security and what's made America great, immigration.
All right, now I know you talk about a good dialogue here, and I know there was a conference call last night, all of you governors who had doubts about this, presumably with the president. I know it got a little heated with Governor Rick Scott of Florida, who said that this was kind of nonsensical. But with you, if you were on that call, did any of your questions get answered? Did any of your concerns get alleviated?
I think it was a positive step in the right direction. I asked 5 different things as part of that call, and I did get responses. What I've also done, though, is I sent a letter to the Secretary of State and the Secretary of Homeland Security asking for a written response on these things, because I think it would be helpful to have something.
Governor, what are the 2 big things you wanted addressed? The governors I talked to a man and woman, have said, we want to make sure that we know who's coming in here and there's a paper record. But with a lot of these guys, there is no paper record.
Well, again, they went through a lot of the procedures, but let's get it out in a transparent fashion to the citizens that we can all look at this process and say this is a very robust process. And also ask the question, the reason for the pause is to say, are there any learning experiences from what we're seeing going on now? You're even reporting new developments, right, Neil. Shouldn't we always be looking at new developments to say we can learn from those to make sure we're maintaining security at the same time helping people with shattered lives? Did anyone
yell? Did anyone complain?
Well, I think you could see that there was a tense dialogue in a number of cases, but right, again, I don't view it that way. I want to make this a non-political process, balancing national security with, again, what's made us a great country.
Gotcha.
Shouldn't we be working on that, and shouldn't we get our citizens active and answer their concerns? Because if we can answer their concerns, all of us can be more welcoming to make sure we're keeping the bad guys out.
All right. Governor, thank you very much for taking